How's it, guys? So finally our Ngunis have arrived. You can see there's two red heifers in the picture there. I'm going to see if I can get closer without spooking them. And I'm very happy with my purchase. Now guys, I hadn't planned on buying Ngunis now already. However, when I received a catalogue from Kenneth Ball, who by the way has his own YouTube channel, and you guys can go and check it out. He's got some really good Ngunis on his channel. Beautiful animals, top quality animals. He's also a stud breeder. But when I received the catalogue from him and an invitation to the national auction, I saw this heifer in the back here, this red heifer in the back, and she immediately caught my eye because she had a solid red coat and she was polled. Now Ngunis are typically multicolored with all kinds of coat patterns. So when I saw her, she caught my eye, and I went into her pedigree, and guys, it was impressive to say the least. I just want to quickly swing over that way. There are three yearling Nguni calves. I'll see if I can get them a little bit later and I'll come back to them. But in any case, so the heifer that I showed you in the back, and they're now in the middle there because they're still a little bit skittish. They haven't quite settled in yet. When I looked into her pedigree, I saw that her mother is 13 years old, had delivered 11 calves at an intercalving period of 359 days. Now guys, that's very impressive. That's very good. So when I saw her, I most certainly decided that I'd like to be on her and do my best to get her. Of course, while I was paging on, I saw a second red heifer from the same breeder, and her mother was 10 years old with 9 calves, which means she calved at the age of 2 with an intercalving period of 337 days. Now guys, that's amazing. Those are very, very good figures. I'm just slowly trying to creep up on them because as I say, they're a little skittish. It's the two red heifers there. I'm going to zoom in slightly. She's calling the youngsters. Well, they're not going to play along as well as I'd like them to. But in any case, I'm just going to stand still because the yearlings are going to come past now. So those two red heifers over there, I've actually bought in the auction. I was successful in my bid. I think I paid a fair price. They're 2 years old. There's the one towards the front there now. They're 2 years old. Both are pregnant and should calve down from December to January, which means they'll calve down before they're 3 years old or before they're 30 months old. Now guys, that's impressive. That's impressive. Coming alongside me now is one of the yearlings. And the story behind these yearlings is that when I contacted the seller after the auction to arrange for collection, he asked me if I didn't want more because he has to get rid of 100 calves. Now just a bit of background. Their farm burned down 3 years ago. Not only their farm, but the neighboring farms, and they lost in total 48,000 hectares that burned down to the ground. And since then they've had a drought. So he's had to rent grazing, and these calves are on the rented farm, and he doesn't have enough grazing left for them. So ultimately two auction heifers became 5 heifers and became 6 with a bull. Now you can see this Tule cow just moves out the way, and if they can just play along. They're not solid red, they have a little bit of white markings on them, but they're impressive nonetheless. Now guys, I don't know if you guys have checked what the value of intercalving period is. If you haven't, please go and do so. If you don't record it for your herd, do yourself a favor and work it out if you have the figures. But it's probably the characteristic that has the biggest effect on cow efficiency, and it has huge financial implications if it's not good. Now you may wonder why I'm hammering on this, but there are breeds in this country that have an intercalving period of over 480 days. And I would thumb suck and say the herd average in this country would probably be 430 to 440 days. So you're talking about a difference of 60 to 80 days at the least. And those are empty, unproductive days. So yeah, it makes a big difference. Anyway, so you might ask yourself, or ask me, Shane, what the hell's going on? Why are you having so many different breeds of animals on your farm? Well, it's quite simple. These animals offer me the opportunity to register as a stud breed if I want to, because I have a bull. The 2 big heifers have been registered. The 3 little heifers I can register when they're 2 years old. I have them inspected by a breed inspector, and then they can be registered if they pass. The same as the bull. So I can become a stud breed if I want to. I can use them commercial. But most importantly, I can compare how these Ngunis do, and I compare them to the Thules, and I compare them to these Cimbra types. And that excites me. Whichever way I decide to go, I still get to compare all the animals to each other and how well they do on this farm. Now, there's a lot of grass here, and I'm busy learning all the grass types and grass names, and I can tell you this, despite there being a lot of grass, it's not good quality grass. So, and it's something that I hope to correct over time with high impact grazing, so that the better grasses start coming through. But either way, I can now play around. And remember, I'm not bound by traditions and conventions. I don't need to conform to anything. This to me is a nice exercise. I can play around and I compare the animals with each other. Now, if you look at these Cimbra heifers, they're starting to look really good. A month ago they were still a little bit ribby and hairy, but the season's turning, so they're starting to lose their hair, become nice and sleek. And of course, those Ngunis right in the front are pulling the whole herd away and making this job quite difficult. Just on that point, they've got a very strong herd instinct. It's actually quite amazing. You find them together most of the time, and you often find them apart from the main herd grazing by themselves, all the Ngunis together. Anyway, so the animals are starting to look nice and sleek. The 3 young yearlings are looking good. They've had a rough time. They were on a rented farm where the grazing was not as much as it should have been or could have been. But for all of that, they're going to look totally different in 6 months' time when I put the bulls in. And what's also going to be interesting is that I'm going to be able to see how early maturing these Cimbra types are. They are large framed animals. They are later maturing. But those that are bred successfully in January, February will be about 14 months old, 14, 15 months old. So it's going to be a nice comparison with them versus the Thule versus the Nguni. Anyway, guys, I think I got a good deal. I think I got some beautiful animals. I'm very excited, and I'm busy walking my legs off after them. I just want to show you that cow over there. That's our Thule cow. Look at her condition. She gave birth, or she calved down, on the 23rd of June. For the most part, I haven't supplemented a lot to these animals. I gave them a protein lick only in July, when it was our coldest month and the grass is at its poorest quality. So for 1 month they got a protein lick. From there it's only been mineral licks. And if you look at the condition of that cow, here's her calf. He's exactly 3 months old. Old Fritz, little bull calf. I think he's looking very good. I'm very optimistic as to how he's going to look when he's 8 to 9 months old. I understand he won't be 230 kilos. He might only reach 180, 190. But at the end of the day, I think the animals are doing fairly well. As you can see, they're riding each other, and I'm going to walk up to them, see if I can catch up. Some of them are already starting to cycle. Of those 3 Nguni heifers that are yearlings, I can see 1 or 2 of them already close to coming on heat. And that's just a sign of early sexual maturity. And guys, that's what we want. That's what I want, at least. You know, we all farm the way we want. If I sound out of breath, I am a little bit, I have a bit of flu, so the lung capacity is not what it usually is, but in any case, enough of me. Animals are coming on heat. You can see they're starting to ride each other. This Thule cow, 3 months after she gave birth, was cycling earlier this week. So I think it says a lot. It's testament to their hardiness. And I think the Nguni is just going to bring a different dimension to this herd. And it's going to be very, very interesting. And you guys that follow this channel will be able to see the journey and see how the animals compare to each other. And isn't that nice? Because us as commercial farmers, we seldom get the opportunity to compare different breeds on our farms. In fact, most commercial farmers get to a breed and stick to it for many years. And if they change to a different breed. Not many farmers have different breeds, 3-4 different breeds on their farm at one go. So yes, guys, that's it. That's our Ngunis. Thanks so much. You've been watching thus far. Thanks a lot. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate the support. And guys, if you have any comments, criticism, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Please drop it below, and I'll respond to you guys. Anyway, I think I'm going to clutch out. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.